What is up, boys? On this week's episode, we sit down with Andrew Nunes of CB Disco, and we talk to him about his whole entire business journey from cannabis products to helping construction workers here in the Massachusetts area. Andrew, awesome guest to be on. I've learned so much about you, and you know what we talked about this podcast episode. You're gonna turn some heads. You're gonna change some lives, man. So.
Thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, we recorded this in a warehouse in Easton, in the office spaces in Easton right upstairs, and not a bad drive here, so it was nice. I saw the traffic going back home, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm dreading that now. But, this episode's packed with educational, witty, funny, and entertainment all around. And Alex and Andrew got really connected. It was a beautiful thing to watch it happen. You're not going to want to miss this episode. As I say it all the time in my intros, you do not want to miss this episode. Andrew, thank you so much for being on. You guys are going to love it. Peace. What is up, guys? I'm Tiago. This is Alex, and our special guest today, a man who has pretty much clothed every single tradesman here in the South Coast area, pretty much all of New England. Andrew Nunes from CB Disco is in the building today. Andrew, welcome, buddy.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, such an honor for you to be here. First of all, can we talk about the shirt? Your shirt right now, I am super jealous of.
Hey, appreciate it.
Really jealous of it because it's a golf shirt, but you actually did tell me that you just put a patch on it.
Got to put a little patch on it. It's with Mom's Love. She personally sewed this baby on. But yeah, I give, Bad Birdie, I love them. Shout out Bad Birdie. They do unreal designs. And but I needed to add a little CB Disco flair.
Hell yeah, man. I'm fucking with it. I really am.
Appreciate you.
So a little bit backstory, but you're going to have to help me out a little bit here.
No, I got you.
So you're the owner and operator of CB Disco out of Easton.
Yep.
And so at first, you guys just did cannabis design and apparel and everything like that.
100%.
Then you branched off to different companies like tradesman companies or any other businesses that needed like apparel and accessories, right?
100%.
So share your backstory. Like, how did this all like kind of began for you? Was it like, one day you just like had like, an idea and then just came about, or was it something that a seed was planted long ago and it kind of grew into full fruition as it is now?
100%. Damn, that's a tough one, Tiago, to start with, brother.
I only ask tough questions on this pod, man.
So yeah, I mean, if we want to roll way back, my wife now, she says I was born, and when I came out of the womb, I handed everybody my business card. She says that's just how I operate. That's how I am. But nah, in all seriousness, I never really expected to start my own business. It was a lot of my old man. He always just saw me running my own business someday, and came out of college, graduated, got those entry-level sales positions, was cold calling people, and then got more into customer service, but still, sales background, all that, and then kind of full circle, came into accounting, doing some project accounting for a general contractor in South Coast, Massachusetts, and just kind of completed the full business, circle. And then one of my colleagues, as far as, you asked, as seeds planted, it's kind of it's interesting fuel, that happened. But, I was sitting down with a coworker. We were out at dinner one night, and this was, post-pandemic, beginning of 2021. And I thought I was going to be working at this company for 10, 15, 20 years. I golfed way too many times during the pandemic, and I was like, I'm getting good. Like,
fine.
This job allows me to do this. Like, I kind of, am able to work from home on top of it all. I was like, this is nice. And, we were out at dinner one night, and she called me a paper pusher. And I don't know what happened, Tiago and Alex, but it changed a gear in my brain that I like it was like an epiphany, and it was like, whoa,
like that kind of like like that disrespect, like because being called
Andrew
paper
Nunes
shit.
ain't no fucking paper.
Yeah,
So part of my French.
no, it's okay. Your French is allowed here because on this podcast we can say whatever the fuck we want.
Fluent in French on this podcast.
So that happened, and then I don't know. I went into complete like, oh, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And I was in meetings and I was getting like aggravated, like with the same shit that was happening day in and day out. Don't really have a voice to add in the opinion. And it's like, what, like, what can I do? Like, what can I start right now? And one of my buddies, to like put icing on the cake, he came over and he was trying to talk me to invest in him with one of these, this is right at the pandemic, so everybody was trying to get an Amazon store going and like trying to figure out how to sell shit online. Yeah. He's like, I know a guy, invest $10,000, $5,000 each, we'll start getting a return, immediately. And I was like, whoa, Joe, I'm not fucking investing in anything like right now. Like, you know what? Let's start doing this our fucking selves. Let's start a business. Let's try to figure this out. And I don't know exactly when it happened, but I was, driving to work, I think, one day on the highway, and this is, 2021, so it's probably, less than 100 cannabis dispensaries, in the market then, and there was a billboard up there. And I was like, geez, I've been smoking weed for, a while here, like, and I still haven't been to a dispensary, like, why is that, and got my medical card, went in and looked at the packaging. And it was like ding, 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 ding. Like this is
a light bulb just
like
went
this
off.
is off. Like, why isn't this a cool Mylar bag? Like, why is this like just a shitty bag with a label over it? I was like, this isn't branding. This isn't marketing. Like, what are we doing here? And that's where it felt like a real possibility to me because, in turn, my father has been in the flexible packaging industry for decades. So immediately, like, call up Dad that same day, start talking about the idea and everything. And he's like, well, Andrew, he's like, we don't service those types of bags. We don't print those types of bags. My clients don't do those types of bags. So it's kind of like, like, all right.
Straight shut down. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, literally, thanks. But he had a couple colleagues who, granted, maybe they didn't print those types of bags, but they were willing to talk to me and offer their advice and like give me advice about this cannabis industry and all that. And sure as shit, I just started, keeping going and just saying, like, let me try to at least, reach out to some of these people. Let me see if they're willing to talk to me. Had a shitty, Tuesday morning at, the
Your Dunkin' Donuts coffee was
yeah,
not made right.
Exactly.
Right? I hate it when that fucking happens.
And I started immediately picking up the phone and cold calling people. And like I told you guys, where I've come from that industry, it wasn't like I was getting 1 out of 20 people actually willing to have a conversation with me. It was like every single person was willing to have a conversation with me.
That's awesome.
And it was like, shit, like, this is different. Like, I'm not getting yeses, but at least, like, what's the name of your company? CB, Custom Bag Distributing Company. Yep, that's us. And it's like, I didn't even have the EIN, nothing yet. Like, just trying to get that, marketing background. Is there an interest? Is there some way that I can stick my foot in here? And I thought there was. And I started getting all the accessories. I started getting all like the G pens and, trying to connect with custom lighters and all this stuff, like not knowing what the fuck I had no idea, what I was doing.
So this whole entire journey was kind of like, at first based on luck, like you're just hoping, like, hey, I hope this works, and it actually did work in your favor. All these phone calls and everything like that. Yeah. So sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all, not at all.
So obviously everyone's talking to you now,
right? And
so, what was like the big thing that happened? Like, obviously people started saying yes because obviously you're really successful now.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there.
So, what was like your first client that you remember that was like, yes, like awesome, like,
yep,
like this is like one of my best clients that I've had, like this is going to turn around everything,
yep,
to my favor. Like,
yeah, so that's a great question. And so our first client ever was Campfire Cannabis, and we sold them all accessories and like rolling papers. And it was, some accessories for, smoking concentrates and then rolling papers, cones, that sort of stuff. And what I envisioned, at this time was that, we can kind of be like the Cisco for cannabis dispensaries. Like we can be that FW Web for cannabis dispensaries.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
That's a very good analogy.
That's what I was thinking. But then, we quickly realized like, shit, these are some tight margins. And I'm not sitting here with $1 million bankroll willing to get so many rolling papers, so many cones to be able to get the best price possible and really hit the streets by myself. It just wasn't feasible. But then he started asking for custom accessories. And he started asking, can you put our brand on a custom lighter? Like, can you do that? And I was like, yeah, like I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. And that's where it all started. And he asked for, in the cannabis industry, everybody has security badges. Yep. And everybody on the security badges, it's like your flair. You have enamel pins on your security badge. Yeah. So I started pushing pins and started saying I can do pins. And a kid I went to high school with, he's very well versed in custom jewelry, custom pins. So he was my first real connect, in talking with this. And he was so overly supportive, where I didn't even have a customer. He said there, he's like, you can fucking do this, Nunes.
You need friends like that. Let me tell you, because Alex is my friend when it comes to that.
I love that. You need an Alex. You always need an Alex because you can't do this shit alone.
I call Alex like David Goggins Jr.
Yeah.
Alex makes me feel like a piece of shit sometimes, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So he's like, he'll be like, yeah, I'm on mile 12 of my run. He's like, what are you doing?
Fucking love that.
And I'm like, I'm currently on my couch eating an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, I love that.
And then he's like, why aren't you running? But
it's because I know you can do more.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
So you need friends like that. You need a huge, even if it's one person, like a huge supporter that can push the envelope out of you,
100%.
So that's honestly, kudos to you. Kudos to that guy too.
Tommy, shout out Tommy.
Shout out to Tommy.
Appreciate
You're the man, Tommy.
Love you, Tommy. But it's so true, man. Because if you're doing it alone, but if you have that one person who has confidence in you, it pushes you to just keep taking those small steps. And that's where everybody today thinks that it's like the shit happens overnight, and it's like no,
nope.
And it happens in chapters, verses. It happens in and it takes years.
It does.
It takes years, but if you can keep compiling those short steps and keep gaining that momentum, after a few years, it's like you look back and you're like, shit, like this is fucking rolling.
That's kind of like how we are now. When we first started, yep. We had obviously we had no audience. We didn't even have a niche at the time. And then what are we? 7 months now.
Something like that.
7 months in, and we our ball is rolling. It's slowly rolling, but it's rolling enough to where people know us now. Yeah. And now everybody wants to come out on the podcast, and it's connecting with you now. Obviously a big distributor. It's kind of I don't even know the word for it. I'm kind of not overwhelmed, but happy.
Yeah.
I guess that's the word, because this is connection. I love making connections. Yep. Because it just opens so many different doors.
100%.
So this is really fun, and I'm
hey, and you know what? You bottle that shit up, Tiago, and
I just gotta let it out, man.
Yeah, you bottle it, but you feel that, and you really lead into it, and then those rainy days when you didn't feel that, then you can go back to it and you can think about this exact moment.
Hell yeah.
Because you know what? It's the same for me too. So.
Hell yeah, brother. Appreciate that. So backtracking, have you lived in Easton all your life, or did you move here?
I was in Norton predominantly, and then so this is my other,
Okay, you lived in Massachusetts all your life.
Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So because we were I moved here. I'm like, where this fucker move from? Where did you move from? So who's been your biggest client? I think your most memorable one. Holy shit, these guys made me a fuck ton of money.
Oh gosh. Well,
I don't know if you can go in details that, but
I probably can't name names.
That's fine. No name.
We
don't name drop on this podcast, but
we've had some unbelievable some unbelievable partners now in both construction, cannabis, and if you don't have those top dogs that, that are willing to ride with you, throughout, the tough times, and be able to give you that honest feedback at the same time and saying, you know what, Andrew, sorry, we aren't going with you this round. And here's why. Like, those are the type of partnerships that I'm looking for. Like, I'm willing, like, I want every order. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I want every damn order. And when you see, and then you quoted something out and you see it on Instagram that they got it, it's like, fuck. It's like, but you need to know in the back of your mind, like, you're not going to get every order. But I'm so thankful for those big dogs out there, and you know who you are.
Big dogs.
They've. Like that ball that you're talking about, I would use that same exact analogy when I was first starting. Like, I would close my eyes and there was nobody there, and I could feel like the boulder, and like
Tommy is the boulder, right?
Yeah.
Tommy was the boulder.
Oh, dude, and like, but just being able to, like, let me push this, like, let me, like, coming up with the name, like, let me just push this rock like a foot, like, let me just push it a foot, and like
Baby steps.
keep moving. And a lot of people don't like that baby steps, and you need to, take strides, you need this and that, and I think that's bullshit. Like, I did this on baby steps and small steps, and it's worked. And
Hell yeah,
it's working, man. It's getting
successful.
there.
You're very successful. So you started off in cannabis.
Yep.
Then what made you want to go into like construction and trades? Like,
Sure.
helping those guys out, because that's here in Massachusetts, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's I think majority of our like jobs are like construction and trades guys. So
100%.
What made you want to like venture out into that field?
Yeah, so I mean, on that one, brother, it was once again like a little bit of luck. Where we're at right now, this is Hannon Electric's building in southeastern Mass. They're a commercial electric general contractor, been around for a long time. And my good friend Eddie Hannon here, his late father, started the company, and once again, another one of those friends. I was talking to him in early 2021, where this was just like not even a seed, like a gleam in my eye. And he's like, you can fucking do this. I can give you some space. I can give you an office. I can give you warehouse space. Like, you can figure this out. And it was like, okay, like, and inevitably it was like, Eddie's like, well, let me give Andrew a shot on some of our custom apparel. Like, let me toss him some quotes. Let's see how he responds with it. And it was like, we could get it done. And, it wasn't just regular, like, polos, t-shirts and that sort of stuff, but it was like the high vis stuff.
Hang on, I'm gonna show the people real quick what we got. So this is obviously this is not the high vis one, but this is actually a really nice polo.
Yeah, it's a Nike.
I like the Nike Golf. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Dude, oh man, I'm just feeling this one now. I just want to put it. I just want to put it on.
That's a nice one.
This is a nice one, and then you have the high vis one over here.
Yeah. So learning that we could do this stuff.
This is real nice. I like it.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, no, that's where we're pushing. We're trying to go the quality route. I know some people always want the cheapest, and that's what they're looking for. But we're definitely on. We're pushing the quality level. Customer support. One-on-one responsiveness, and you're not just going on one of those nameless, faceless websites and just kind of, crossing your fingers that the T-shirt that you're gonna buy is gonna be come out good and it's gonna feel right. It's like, when people talk to us, we want them to trust us.
Yeah, so that's what your big thing is. Like, you want to make sure like your client is satisfied with, like, because I feel like with like websites and everything like that, you never know what you're gonna, like, the exact thing you're gonna get.
Right.
At least with you and your company, you're making sure like this is exactly what my client wants, and I'm going to give them exactly what they want.
Yeah, and that's where, dude, it was a lot of like. It's a lot of mistakes to like figure that out, and I'll give you, the perfect example, like on our first client ever, Campfire Cannabis.
Yep.
We did an enamel wooden pin for them, and the first wooden pin that we ever did, and all the backing started falling off of them. They were like, the glue was falling off, they were falling apart, and it was like, it was our first order. And it's like,
first one?
Yeah, first one, and we got it, and it's like, shit, like, immediately, like, can I do this? Can I do this? And it's like, whatever you just like you said, you got to serve the customer, man. You got to serve
Absolutely.
them, and when it's wrong, take responsibility and make it right. You got to make it right, or they're gonna fucking go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
And I think like the whole like being on like taking initiative and like responsibility is such like a huge step too.
Yeah.
Because it'll teach you like, oh hey, I messed up on this.
Yeah.
How do I fix it?
Yeah.
And then you fix it, and then you resell it, and then now the product works. So it's just never giving up.
Yeah. No.
Quoted by my favorite person of all time, John Cena.
Shout out John Cena, man. Springfield College, love it.
Yeah. So obviously, Handon kind of gave you your first start in construction and like everything like that, and then a company that I work for now, RCL.
Yep.
You made this hat?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
These hats. It's a little dirty because obviously I work. So this hat's not dirty just because I rubbed some dirt on the outside of his warehouse over here. No, this has been through some shit. No pun intended.
Literally.
But
Love it.
I love the like the accessories and the apparel that you get. I think did you make the
bro.
shirts as well?
Yes.
You
Yep,
did, right?
yep,
The high vis ones
Yes,
too?
yep,
Man,
yep, the embroidered
I
ones,
can't believe
yep.
I'm meeting the source.
Nah, yeah. Hey.
No, I'm really loving your apparel, man.
Thanks, brother.
If I can actually put a little bit of a little thing in the air.
Fuck yeah.
Breathable high vis.
Yeah.
I think like lightweight high vis.
Absolutely.
I think me and every single construction worker that works outside could probably agree.
Yeah.
Breathable, like lightweight high vis.
And it's amazing. Like, God, I feel like it's like a secret of mine. Like, it's one of the first things I push every single time because all these construction companies, it's always cotton.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you're not really working in like really dangerous, like, fire hazard, kind of situations, like, God, man, yeah, polyester is the way to go.
Polyester. Because I'm at a job site right now. There's like no AC,
Yeah.
and I'm going through like 4 shirts.
There you go.
So.
Yeah. It's brutal, man.
It's-
Brutal.
But oh man, you went to UMass Amherst.
I did.
You went to UMass Amherst.
Yeah.
But you graduated well before him. Obviously.
Okay.
What year did you graduate?
2018.
2018, and you graduated in
14.
14.
Yeah.
Okay, so not that bad. And you guys, I think both of you had the same major.
Okay. Business.
So-
But yeah, marketing specifically.
Nice.
You
Yep.
guys,
Same here.
You guys can connect. That's
Love
so
that.
So
Love that.
cute.
That's awesome. Small world.
So, walk me through, like, was it, obviously you wanted to do something in marketing. So
Yeah.
That's obviously why you went to school for it.
Sure. Sure.
I mean, did you have, like, but if did you have, like, anything, like, that you really wanted to do before you wanted to do, like, business and, like,
Yeah.
marketing and, like, all that? Was there something that, like, really piqued your interest before you made, like, the switch of, like, okay, I'm going to go into marketing, blah, 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 et cetera? Like,
Sure.
Did you want to become a plumber?
Dude, yeah. So I mean, I gotta, yeah. So I'll listen. I respect people who can work with their hands.
Hell yeah.
Who are in the trades more than any. Like I put, you guys on a pedestal, but because it's just I am so incompetent, and I try to learn and I try to, but it's just like. It's like my dad says, it's easy when you know how, right? It's easy when you know how, and you're out, out doing it every day and all that stuff. And it's like, I'm sitting here, I'm watching the YouTube videos. I want to be able to do this, but it's just like, yeah, I still don't trust myself to cut this pipe. No, I don't. It is. So I'll start off with that for sure. My brother-in-law, he's an unbelievable tiler, that kind of handiwork and being able to work with your hands, man, it's such a lost art, and I respect the shit out of it. So
Thank you.
Definitely. But
I shouldn't say thank you, but thank you.
yeah, 100%.
I'm speaking on behalf of every single tradesman right now.
Nah, yeah, and it's so cool. But to answer your question, I was really pushing like Naval Academy.
Oh, okay.
So I really, like a lot of everybody, when they're 18 years old, I just didn't know what the bleep I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I was kind of at a, rough patch, and, parents getting divorced, all that stuff.
Yep.
So you're not really fully sure like what I want to do, and it was like, well, it's free, I'll get ordered, kind of told what to do. let me go and work on a, atomic submarine. That sounded pretty fucking dope. Like, whatever, like something like that. And, so I applied, pushed it, got the, congressional letter, went that whole route. Didn't really train for the physical test, which was a mistake. And that's where I think I realized, like, I'm not really fully sure if like this is something that I, want to fully do. So I actually went into UMass for political science, thinking that I was maybe going to try to apply to the Naval Academy again. And of course, when you get into UMass and you try to transfer into the business school, the hardness of it is like, it goes up like freaking.
See, I honestly wouldn't know it because I didn't take the college route.
Yeah.
So Alex probably would. You could probably.
I vouch for it.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah. So, I did well that, fall semester, thank God, applied to go into Eisenberg for business. Didn't want to do finance or any of that garbage, right, Alex? So we, did marketing.
Those goddamn numbers.
Yeah. Shit's tough, man. And so it was like, this makes sense. I love selling. I love branding. I love business. I love hearing people talk about business. And I was like, this seems like a good route, just stuck. And the stuff I started studying, I was like, this makes sense. And I didn't really fully know, like, yeah, I'm going to start my own business someday or anything really. But it was like, let me get into business. And then started smoking some weed and realized I probably wasn't going to the Naval Academy anymore. And,
It's okay. It's totally fine, man.
I found my way.
So, trying to get because I'm like processing your story at the same time.
Nah, I'm talking a lot, brother,
Yeah,
so
it's
I
all
don't
good.
make
It's all
it
good.
easy for you.
It's all good. So you obviously graduated Amherst with a with a bachelor's, I'm assuming.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I stalked you on LinkedIn, and
It's perfect, man.
I had to brush up on my research a little bit.
Perfect.
But I also watched your website's video, and I thought it was really cool how you like your pyramid, or like the triangle, your big three things is like customer service, like affordable but best quality products. I'm like very appreciative that there are guys like you that want to help people, but also not try to like take advantage of them either. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So I don't know if you guys can see this. You probably can't, but he's got hats, mugs, everything that you've created yourself.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
you designed all this.
Yeah, well, we've had, I didn't personally like draw the designs, but this was actually Kevin over at High C Inc. He works at, one of the printers that we work with. He's actually, like I said, a tattoo artist, and he hand drew that design.
That's
and
fucking cool.
we were able to, vectorize it and start putting it on, a wide array of custom products. So, we did the stickers, we did the enamel pins, we put it on the back of a sweatshirt. It's just a cool design. And I gotta admit, we need to start doing more of this kind of stuff to get
like stuff like this.
Yeah, to get our branding out there a little bit more, for sure. But I love this design. I want to put on everything.
You technically don't like. You do design,
Sure.
but you like obviously the client has like an idea of what they want. Do you like kind of help them out? Like, say if I had a design.
Yep.
And I gave you like ideas.
Yep.
Could you draw it for me?
So I wouldn't be able to jump on Adobe and draw it for you. But I know the people that can. So that's where, distributor and kind of graphic designer, I'm definitely not a graphic designer.
Okay.
But we know a lot of great graphic designers.
That's what's up. Because I was thinking, because on the way here, we were like brainstorming ideas of like t-shirts and hats.
Yeah,
and
but
everything like
it's like I know like you give me a logo, it's like I know exactly what t-shirt to put that on to like
Really?
make it cost effective, make something comfortable that you guys are gonna wear, that sort of stuff, or color schemes, like trying to change up the design a little bit to kind of stick out more, that sort of thing, and offering. Because a lot of clients, they're even asking us like, what sizes do I order? And it's like, well, large and extra large are always most popular, kind of,
Yeah. That's always the one that goes first. Oh man, all this stuff is great. It's really awesome. And your office is actually, the warehouse and the office is actually really nice too. I like how you're like local, you know?
Yeah.
Because then you're either like 30, 40 minutes to Boston,
Yep.
or like, maybe like what, 50 minutes to Newport or Rhode Island.
100%,
Like that.
yeah,
So
right in the middle.
you brand to everybody.
Yep.
It doesn't like, so I'm assuming you do mainly Massachusetts, or do you like kind of go around?
Yeah, so we're definitely mainly Massachusetts.
Okay.
Like for example, we work with over 100 different cannabis businesses a year.
Oh,
wow. And then a little bit of Rhode Island, a little bit of Maine. New Jersey, New York have been trickling in a little bit. Kind of based off word of mouth, but I haven't really spent a lot of money, marketing and doing that sort of stuff yet. But it's on the docket, definitely.
What would you say to like people that want to start like their own business?
Yep.
If like, what would be like best piece of advice that you can give to a young like entrepreneur, or like a young like thriving business
young
owner?
dog.
Yeah, a young dog. Yeah. DAWG.
Yeah,
Dog.
literally. Dog or dogette, I guess.
Ah,
Right?
yeah. Whatever floats your boat.
That's a great question, Tiago. For me, what really stuck out, it kind of goes back a little bit to the small steps and all that. But I think for me, and it's super simple and all that, but it's just you got to stay consistent.
100%.
You got to stay consistent. You can't sit there and twiddle your thumbs and wait for something to come across your desk. You got to go out there and fuck up. You got to go out there and make mistakes.
As brutal as that sounds, it's actually like 100% true. Like
Yeah.
you need to, as bad as it sounds, you need to fail. That's how you get better and you learn.
100%. 100%.
And a lot of people don't agree with that. And to those people, they're probably just like afraid of failing.
Yep.
So
They are, man, and it's something that it needed to take me a while. And listen, I was a foot in, foot out for a long time. I'm only in my year and a half, full time on the business. Like I was a foot in, foot out, working 2-3 part-time jobs at a time, trying to get this going and into a place where it was like I'm comfortable now going full time, and that was hard. Because it was like, you don't know when, and you're caught up in the matrix on top of it all, right? Like, I need a 9 to 5. Well, this is how I provide, this is how I pay my mortgage. This is how I provide for my family. This is how I'm going to start a family.
Yep.
And it's like, you don't necessarily. You can get out of the matrix. You can step out and, start working for yourself. And is it more stressful? Yes, 100%.
do you think like people need to like have a certain type of like discipline to be like to handle that stress, and also to like want to become like a successful like business owner?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I'm a really emotional dude. I think I probably cry more than my wife, believe it or not.
That's okay.
And it's something that, going back to like family, old man, that sort of stuff, it was always kind of like, well, you're sensitive, Andrew. You're sometimes you're too sensitive and that sort of thing. And that's where it's like, I think I'm changing the script to be an entrepreneur and not like that David Goggins, like fucking beat down your throat. And I listen, I love him. I listen to him too. And sometimes I need it to kick myself in the ass and I'm a runner too, by the way. So
Good. You guys can run together.
yeah. So so it's fun. But I think, to kind of reel it back in, I think people need to allow that emotion to flow and like realize like, well, maybe I'm not the toughest and maybe I'm not that like going kick ass every single day, and that's okay. Like we could wake up on a Monday morning and say like, I'm fucking worried about, I'm worried about getting the next sale. I'm worried about, this actually rolling. Is this even a good idea? And like, that's human. That's human. And, sometimes with those influencers out there, the people that are taught, the Gary V's that have been doing this forever, it's like they make it look so easy, and it's like, shit, Monday mornings, man, I'm still fucking crying sometimes. I'm like, where's the next sale? Like, where is this coming? Like, what did I do? Like, this fucked up again. Like, now this is wrong. Like, and I think people need to, if you can be okay with that and understand, like, you know what, I'm just a certain type of way, and maybe I don't have to be, David Goggins, Gary Vee, whatever. I'm just me, and I can make it by doing me. I'm just starting to kind of get there a little bit and like accept who I am, and that I'm not that normal entrepreneur because maybe I care a little bit too much.
Yep.
But it's okay.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Wear your heart on your sleeve. That's why I'm
100%.
like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm like, I let my emotions kind of like get the better of me. Alex can definitely like, preach that.
Yeah.
But I think it's perfectly normal to like let your emotions like out, whether it be like happy, sad, excited. We did our internal, like our last one.
Yep.
I literally turned to him. I'm like, I'm so fucking excited.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like happy. Like, I'm like, because we weren't going to do anything. We were just going to be like, another week's gone, no more guests. Nobody wanted to reach out. And that was a stare to the people that didn't want to reach out to us.
I like that. I caught that.
And then I'm like, Alex, you want to do an internal, Alex? He's like, yeah, where we want to do it? I'm like, I don't know, let's just do it. Do it in the middle of the street, do it on the sidewalk. We don't care. Like, let's just do something, because I don't want to like sit at home and like just let another week go by because somebody wants to cancel on us.
Yep.
And so-
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. If you can hold on to that and keep doing that, that's the most important part, because 90% of people probably would have said fuck it and say, I'm not doing it this week. I'm not going to do it this week. And then it turns into next week, and then it's next month, and then it's like, well, shit, are we still doing this?
yeah.
And it's like, and it can just disappear like that.
It's a slippery slope, right?
Slippery.
Once you let it go a little bit, it's very easy to let it slip again. Like you mentioned, you're a runner. I'm sure, like maybe there's a week, or you go for a run a few times that week, and then the next week you're like, oh, I'm a little sore,
100%.
And then 1 week turns into two turns into three, and before you know it, you're like, damn, man, like what happened? I was doing so well, and then I kind of fell off.
Yes.
But I like what you had mentioned before about the baby steps. It's like every little step kind of leads to success.
Yep.
Also, the opposite's true, right? Every
Yes.
step in the background, sort of leads to, I don't know if failure is the right word, but definitely, when people look at that, like, oh, how did this thing fail? It's like, well, it's all the baby steps you took in reverse that you thought didn't matter. You didn't want to get off the couch. You didn't want to record that internal. You didn't want to call that customer. You didn't want to return those pins with the glue on them, you know? So
that's so well said, Alex. It really is. And you're kind of that's like an epiphany for me, going the opposite way, and how to prevent that. And to also give yourself credit too, that, you stepped up and you said, let's just do it. And let's, and maybe it's not going to be the best. It's not going to be perfect. That's okay. It doesn't have to be fucking perfect, but just keep making progress, making progress. Right. And that's where people, maybe they don't give themselves enough credit. They don't tap themselves on the ass enough. They just have all that self-doubt, and, you just got to keep going. Yeah.
That's how I felt like when our first few episodes we kind of record. Like, I was like, I had this like huge like idea, like, oh yeah, we'll get like, maybe like 50 like listeners or views or something like that. Yep. And the first one we did was really well, but then after that, I kind of like the numbers went down. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, yep. I know Alex isn't doing anything wrong because he's like doing his thing. What am I doing wrong? And then like I never told you this, but there was a point where I'm like, are we doing the right thing? Like, and then Alex kind of like motivated me. He was like, listen, dog, like, this is baby steps right now. We're not gonna like blow up overnight unless we do something insanely crazy, which I can't, because I'm scared of everything. But he's like, trust the process. Yeah. Trust it. We're gonna just stay consistent. That's what we need to do right now. Just stay consistent. And now we're here because the numbers are after 5 episodes, somebody does a podcast, it fails.
Yeah, I think most people don't record more than 5 episodes.
Yeah,
I'm happy you know that stat, because I know that stat too.
we're on number 7 now, so that's actually like awesome. That, and obviously more on the way too. So I'm glad Alex kind of like motivated me to like get me out of my funk and be like, hey, listen, like, you said like I'm the guy, and I'm here to on live camera. I'm him. Don't you fucking forget I'm him.
I love it. I love it. I
But-
love it.
I do have a question sort of for you though, because it's like we started this project, obviously the two of us, you know.
Sure.
Some days you have good days, some days you have bad days. On the bad days, you lean on your partner. On their bad days, you know, vice
Have
versa.
to, yeah.
You know, and he has skills that I don't have, and I have skills that he doesn't have.
And that's why we work so well together. You know?
Yeah.
I'm more of like a what do you call it? Like a vocal, high energy. I bring like the charisma and everything like that. Alex has charisma too, but he's so smart when it comes to like marketing, how to like publish things, like how to like make it all work. And obviously, you know, I'm drawing a brain for it. The production wise of it too.
Absolutely.
So that's why we mesh so well. Because like there's stuff that I can do that he can't, and then there's a lot of stuff that he can do that I can't. It's
beautiful.
So I think you just need that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. That was sort of leaning into my question. So are you doing this solo? Do you have a partner? Like,
Sure. Yeah. So it was, you know, getting it up and running, and to that point, it was all me. And then right around it's a little over a year now, after I was about 6 months full time, I realized that I was probably going to need some help here. And like, this is getting a little bit too big for my bridges. Like I need somebody help to, you know, communicate if I'm off making deliveries, et cetera. And one of my best friends, you know, lifetime best friends, you know, they tell you don't mix, you know, your best friends in business, you know, but he's a special dude, who can always draw the line, and I think our relationship, we could both tote both sides of like, and very, very quickly being able to be in the friendship side, but sorry, we got to jump over on the business side here. And it's, you know, over a year plus now, yeah, we have those kind of, you know, troubles, you know, kind of bickering, if you will, but you get through it. And it's just very similar. You know, he offers up support to me when I'm having those bad Mondays, and he's like, we're getting through this, dude. Yeah. Like we got 3 new clients this month. Like we've done this, like look at what we're doing here. Like, and he's there to kind of reiterate, because, you know, it, as the kind of gets bigger and all that, it's much more serious too, right? So it's like when that Monday comes around that, you know, you're not exactly where you're envisioning it. It's like, yeah, it can get a little bit low. So you need, to your point, that guy to kind of bring you back up. And then on the reverse side of that coin is definitely my wife too. She helps out with all of our social media. She comes in here once a week to do office work for me, you know, filing papers, you know, that sort of thing, that it's like, God, it seems like a little, but I probably wouldn't have posted on Instagram this past year once if I didn't have her. Like, it's not my strong suit. It's not something I'm interested in, but she's just so good at it. And it's so second nature that it's like, she's able to kind of pump it out. And yeah, it's huge. You know, she's made a huge difference.
Do you think social media has a huge impact on businesses nowadays? Do you think not, I wouldn't say a lie, but like it's just a huge like part of like owning a business now, or like being self-employed?
Huge, man. Yeah, huge. And you know, maybe, you know, I'm not completely sold on like having the perfect website yet and all that, maybe because I haven't, you know, invested too much in it, and I've just done so much face-to-face and all that it's been able to grow. I'm sure we'll get to that point that I'm going to want the big fancy website and start growing a little bit, you know, less organically and more, you know, on Google, SEO, that sort of stuff. But, you know, right now, yeah, if you're doing like what we're doing and serving a local community and that sort of thing, we need to like get people talking about us and get people sharing the products and like all the different dispensaries, all the different branding. And it's like, well, they do these custom lighters, I want those too. You know, they did the cool patch hat, you know, why can't we do something like that? And, you know, I think a lot for the dispensary side of things, they don't realize like, oh, I don't just have to sell cannabis. I can sell lighters. I can sell grinders. I can sell like all that plant touching stuff. Like they can sell too, and it's just upsells, you know. And it's all with their branding too. And let's face it, a lot of these dispensaries out there right now, there's so many of them that, you know, it's similar to the breweries. Like they're kind of competing off one another based off their branding and who has, you know, the best menu and that sort of thing, that, you know, you need to be kind of pumping out cool merch, cool swag to keep people talking.
It's funny you say the thing about the website, man. It's like I work for sort of a bigger company in Providence in the education space, and they have some money and they poured some of it into websites and social media, and that's sort of my whole world.
Yeah.
But it's funny, when you get to sort of the final frontier of that, you almost revert backwards to like just the one-on-one conversations.
Yeah.
And I found, like, definitely with the podcast, but also like with my day job, where it's like, that is where you get the most benefit, is just actually having a conversation with Sally and knowing her by name. And those one-on-ones, man, like, I don't know where social media is going to go tomorrow or the next day, but I think, you know, it sort of diverted us and it scattered our attention. But I think eventually it's going to come back to like those one-on-one conversations, because I think that's everything, man.
Dude, and it's funny you say that, Alex, because I used to, you're bringing up a huge pain point that I've always had with this business, and it's, we don't do anything proprietary. We do nothing proprietary. Anybody could go to Custom Ink, they can go to Sticker Mule, they can go to 4Imprint, they can go out, they can get this stuff, sure. And they can find the same exact stuff that we're selling, maybe at a cheaper price, sure. But it's the relationships, and that's it. And they trust, you know, CB Disco, they trust Andrew, they trust Joe, they trust Meg, and it's like, well, I want to support Andrew's business. I don't want to support this nameless, faceless website that I have nothing really invested in. But if I see Andrew, you know, growing, and I see him on my social media page, I see him like sharing, you know, the products that he made for us and all that stuff, I think there's a connection there. And that's and it's still something I struggle with, that it's, no, this isn't like we are doing this incredible stem cell research that is, you know, we're on the verge of, you know, breaking this and that. And that's what I always viewed as business, is you need something proprietary. You need to be able to grow in a certain way with something new. So yeah, the relationship is everything, man, for us.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely everything. And like, I don't know, man. I used to think that too when I was younger. Like, you have to do these big, grand things, like you with the stem cells, or like my big thing was AI and all this, you know,
AI,
all these big,
yeah.
you know, spaceships and all these sorts of things. And we sort of breeze past the idea where it's like, man, our ancestors came from just tribes, spending time with people. Like, I don't know, man, like connecting with people, that's like the most profound thing there is. You know what I mean? Like, we build up all these things and we build these businesses, and why do we do it at the end of the day? It's just to connect with people. So it's like, if we can spend our time, like, I can say for me, man, that's why we do the podcast, to just be able to connect with people, especially entrepreneurs. They're so passionate and they're trying to bring love and beauty and something of service into the world. To get to meet those people, and especially someone like you, where it's like, you wear your heart on your sleeve. I can just see that you love your community. You know, it's not about selling a hat. It's more about like helping this person with their plumbing company. Or, you know, there's something real to that. Like, this isn't a pitch either. Like, to full transparency, like, if I didn't think, I wouldn't say any of this. Like, I really feel that from you. You know what I mean? So it's like, I
appreciate that.
And I think, man, keep doing what you're doing. Like, forget the big websites. If you keep just brick by brick, relationship by relationship, man, like, you've built to this point, it's the sky's the limit if you do that. Those big companies do the big company things. You do that, and I think, you know, over a long enough time horizon, you end up winning. The yous out there end up winning. You know what I mean? So respect to you, man.
It means more than you know, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate
for sure.
you.
I'll let Tiago take this back before I go.
He's going to go on like a philosophy.
Let's get Alex a mic.
No, that's why I like Alex, because he can like go into like deep talks, and then me, I'll just like say some stupid shit that's funny. So like,
actually, sorry to cut you off.
All right.
Yeah, it takes me a while to start cooking, but then once we're going, we're going. So you mentioned something interesting before, like you started this whole venture kind of alone, and then you sort of found a best friend that you kind of started working together. And then your wife kind of helps out a lot. What would you kind of say to your younger self? Would you have started it alone, or would you have tried to find that person more immediately? Like, what's the kind of pros and cons there? Like, do you think you would have just hopped right into the partner thing, or?
Yeah, no, it's a really, yeah. I mean, so to give you more details on the background of like, you know, starting this, you know, Joe and I started initially, you know, because we were talking, he's the one who mentioned the Amazon store. So we started talking about it as kind of like that partnership and all that, and, you know, splitting it, you know, 50-50, and, you know, that way, and starting that way, I think we both quickly realized it wasn't the right way to do it. And it was like,
Why is that? Like, why wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, 'cause
No,
there's something there.
Scared
Right?
the fuck out of
there
me.
is. I guess for me it was like going back to like the Shark Tank, going back to like college and knowing those types of like businesses and talking about like the friend and friend, employer-employee relationship, friend, and splitting things 50-50. Somebody is inevitably going to think that they're working harder than the other one, right? So and this is where for Joe and I, we were able to like talk all of this out and realize like it probably isn't going to work 50-50 and somebody's going to have to like start this and get it rolling and be the owner and maybe it'll whatever. And that's where it was like for me, I love you, Joe. You were there throughout the entire time. I was picking up the phone, cold calling, going out, making visits, going to the trade shows, going to the networking events, and getting it going. Wow, we have 2 customers now. We have 3 customers. We got 6 customers. And it was like, holy shit, 10 customers. Wow, like that's incredible. 10 customers. To me back then, it was like, yeah, it was a miracle. It was unbelievable. So I think there just needs to be, if you're starting it, right then and there, 50-50, I guess it's a harder, from our perspective, it was a little bit harder because it was like we both had full-time jobs. We both weren't really like ready to like jump right into it. And that's where Joe was kind of honest. And he was like, I don't think I have the same amount of time to really invest in it, to start. And I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can get this rolling. And, got it rolling. He continued working at his job. And it was like the timing kind of worked up. He was kind of phasing out, didn't really want to work at his job anymore. And like, we talked. It was like, all right, now might be the good time. And he's completely cool with, not having any of the, the tax burden at the end of year and all of that, and being, the number one, right-hand man and, my eternal trust on every single thing, which is a big deal because I don't trust anybody, with this business and that sort of thing. Cause, stones can go unturned and, it's not every question's asked and shit can get screwed up, but he does now and he's doing, he's killing it. So yeah, it's different for everybody, right? And for us, that's just how it worked for us. We realized like at the get-go, it's like, nah, this isn't really, something that we can go in, 50-50 with and kind of figure it out because inevitably one or the other is going to be working more. A little bit different than the podcast, right? You guys are doing this, together. You're sharing this. It's a beautiful thing. You're building the community. You each have the tasks. You know the responsibilities and the roles. So it's it's not going out and somebody's hitting the road on sales and then the other person's kind of on the back end like twiddling their thumbs, right? Waiting for the next sale to come in.
No, I think that's important though, man, because it's like even with me and Tiago, there's some days where I'm like, wow, Tiago did a lot for this episode or this guest, and then there's times where I'm like, wow, I feel like I did a lot. So those feelings of kind of resentment can kind of come up.
They bubble up.
But to your point, man, I think there's something about doing it with like a best friend or someone you care about, because it's like when those feelings come up, you can discuss them.
You have to.
And I like what you said too about like business is like it has to have an emotional component to it because it's like we're emotional beings, man. Like when you feel angry, rather than just freaking out on someone, if you're able to communicate like, I feel angry because of this, you can get to the root of it and actually solve the problem rather than just throwing shit or whatever else. But it's like, if that person's like your homie, like for real, like you can have those discussions and
100%. And that's where it's like, for him, sometimes it's like, brother, like I need to be able to send these emails. Like you can't check every single email. It can't be perfectly worded every time because I like my emails a certain way and I like constructing them. And it was like kind of teaching him the best ways and best practices and getting him up to snuff and kind of taking away, some of that, the fluff in it all. And that's just, me and it's the baby, right? And you want everybody to care for the baby as much as you do, but it's not going to happen,
Yeah, and there's something about that best friend or like commitment. Like you said, your wife is very integral to it. There's something about someone that can't leave you that it makes it work. You know what I mean? Once you can't just walk away from someone, it's like your best friend or your wife. It's you find a way to kind of work through the things. That's kind of been my experience, at least. I haven't had a ton of businesses. I have a little construction thing I do with my dad, which my dad can't leave. He's my dad or whatever. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
love that.
But like, I don't know. I've sort of debated that in my brain too. Is like, is it better to go the route of finding someone where it's just a logical partner? It's just like, there's no emotions attached and it's sort of black and white, or is it? But I think the emotional connection makes it deeper, more fulfilling. And even if it's not always 50-50, it's at least like, you're enjoying your time here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. That's the thing is like, you know, he's like, I was talking about getting out of the matrix, you know, earlier, and it's like, he realizes it every day. He's like, I'm freaking working with my best friend, like coming into an office that's 10 minutes down the road from where I live. Like, I'm not pushing paper anymore for whatever. It's different.
And how did you sort of make that transition from the matrix into your full-time sort of, into like actually working for yourself full-time?
Yeah.
Like, cause we're kind of in that right now. Like I have a full-time job, Tiago has a full-time job. I think our ambition and dream is to kind of be in the media landscape, have like a podcast and do that sort of thing. But sometimes it's hard to kind of navigate that, you know, it's like, I guess what a podcast is like, well, first off, how do you actually make money off of this? Something with, you know, like merchandise, it makes more sense where it's like, here's the product, here's the money, and like there's an even exchange there.
100%. Yeah. No, it's a great, you know, and my wife will be smiling at this question because it was something I was talking about for a long time. You know, the business started in 2021, and like that it was in June we made our first sale, and that December I was ready to I'm ready to fucking cut the cord and like I'm ready to jump in on this shit. Like I'm ready to go. But it wasn't wasn't really the right timing for it all. So, you know, hung around, you know, for another year at the construction company. And what I did is instead of going from, you know, hanging around there, something that I didn't fully love, I said I wanted to go down to part-time. And I took another part-time job at a dispensary, and I started working at the dispensary doing accounting for them, and trying to get more insight into the industry, trying to gain, you know, what else do other people like, you know, how does the inner workings of this business kind of flesh out, like the packaging side of things, trying to like really start learning more and more about the industry. So I worked there for about, you know, 6 months, and then I kind of told them, like, you know, trying to kind of transition to more, you know, full-time CB disco, because I realized over those 6 months, I was like, this shit's taking off, and like this shit's getting bigger, and like the sales are getting bigger. Like, I think I can do this full-time. Started working another, you know, part-time job. I was telling you guys about the custom jewelry, you know, company that, you know, Tommy owned. I started working with him a little bit for a few months, kind of thinking like, well, if I don't want to keep doing CB disco, like maybe I can just go and team up with him and just start getting a bunch of cannabis, you know, clients, and start, you know, kind of carving out my niche with him. And realize that shit, I don't really want to give up this baby that I've worked on for a year and a half and kind of give it up. And so I told him, yeah, I'm kind of, you know, done, you know, at the end of this month, whatever. But I was all the while I was banking on keeping my original construction job part-time to kind of keep my cash, you know, afloat. And it was, first week of September, got called into an office. And this is after I had already, you know, I had originally told them I wanted to quit, and they asked me to stay on part-time. So I was, you know, part-time from January until September now. They called me in and said, hey, Andrew, you know, we really aren't looking for somebody part-time, you know, anymore. We're kind of cutting staff here. You know, we're trying to cut overhead. So they let me go. And that's where it was like, shit, I got to make this happen. And I had end of September, you know, they told me the rest of the month can hang around. And it was that first week of October. I'll never forget that. Started coming up here every single, you know, day, pushing it. And and it was a little bit of a forced hand, man. Like, it wasn't, I got to admit, it wasn't fully me. I at the time, I think I kind of was building the momentum towards that, but I was never really going to leave that it's a blanket, man. You know, that steady paycheck. It's so nice. Like it's, you know it. I've known it since I graduated college, and it's like, I don't know if I'm going to get my next paycheck from, I hadn't even started paying myself from CB Disco yet. And it was like, in 3 weeks, signed on with a human resources company, had to start paying myself, all the shit, went on to unemployment, see if I could start claiming unemployment possibly while I was getting it rolling. They're saying, well, are you working for a business? Yes. Are you paying yourself? Not a lot. No, you can't claim unemployment. So when you can, but when you're the owner of the company, they don't let you do it that way. So got turned down, found out somebody actually stole my identity at that time.
What piece of shit.
Yeah, and got unemployment for me. So that was like the first week I'm starting working full time at this job. I found out somebody fucking stole my identity for unemployment. It was such a mess, man. It was like, this is like, what the fuck am I doing? But you just, not to get too spiritual on you, I kind of trusted that it was God kind of putting, aligning everything and saying, you know what? He's not going to do this himself, no matter how much I'm telling him he needs to do this himself. So you know what? He's going to get fired.
Thanks, God.
And it's, at the time you're thinking it's the end of the world, all that, but
I hear stories like this, and it actually makes me like hyped, because I'm like, it can happen to like anybody if they actually like put in like the work. You know what I mean? Nothing really happens like overnight, and nothing really like falls on your lap. Yeah, you got to work your ass off for it.
100%.
So,
what's interesting to me too is just the idea that people think jobs are super stable, but it's like, to your point, it's like they can just let you go. Whereas with a business, like if I put in X amount of work, like I can find a customer. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
if I work the streets enough, I can get this lead. If I get enough of these leads, they turn into this. Whereas you're never going to give up on yourself. A business can just, if they need to cut overhead, or if a new technology comes out that sort of eliminates your job, it's like,
well said.
You know what I mean? We put jobs on such a pedestal, but it's like, and then we don't look down on business owners. Like we look up to like the great ones, but a lot of them are just like, everyone just wants a job because it's comfortable and secure, but it's like, is it really that secure?
And it's, to that point, Alex, it's that same employee that, a coworker back in the day that called me a paper pusher. She used to say all the time, she said, just in case I get run over, just in case I get run over, and she'd like toss me some, this is how you do this. Like, just in case I might get, run over, they don't care if we get, run over. She used to say that all the time. And it's true. Like, if you get, it's awful and pessimistic to say, but if God forbid something happens to you, the business needs to keep going. The business can't stop over one employee, and so to that point, do whatever the fuck you want to do, and start making those steps into what you actually want to do, and keep the momentum. You need to stay optimistic and look at the positives, even when they're so bleeping small. And give yourself some credit,
Yo, I just got goosebumps. I got some fucking serious goosebumps.
Love it.
Let me just ask one more. Sorry, well, we're cooking now. He's got so much good information. So it's all right. So you're in the business now. You're starting it. You're successful now.
Absolutely.
Is there any sort of like metrics or things you look towards, like on the Monday or each week, to be like, this is kind of what I like to sort of like, what's your compass of like knowing I'm going in the right direction? Because it can get confusing, right? There's so many
100%.
different inputs, so many things going on, so many things your attention can kind of go towards. Like, how do you navigate,
Yeah, and I guess that's, I'm sure some people have, for me, it's all the sales, Alex. And it's tough, and it is black and white, but for me, it's looking at last year, looking at this year, and seeing what's happening, and then and we need to be bigger than last year. And, it's something I'm constantly harping on, and, I'm comparing like this year to this week last year, and saying, let's frickin' like triple it, and and crush it. And that's kind of for me. And I'm sure I've been trying to think of different ways of how to differentiate it, and I've been trying to get fun. Like on the goal board, I'm like, 2 walks with Joe and I, go out for two 10-minute walks, get out of the office. And it's like, I don't know, like at the end of the day, it's sales, right? And that's to keep going, that's kind of where I base a lot of it off of. And new customers too, for sure, on a monthly basis, trying to, get that new revenue in. But yeah, I'm definitely a numbers guy.
And sort of towards that sales end, because you studied marketing, I studied marketing, just to nerd out a little bit, right?
Hell yeah.
When you sort of think about sales or you think about leads or acquisitions, like how do you, because sales is such a big thing, how do you kind of break that down to do you think about I have to call X amount of people? How do you start to break down, how do I actually get to that sale number?
100%. Yeah. So, and it's something that I used to obsess over, initially starting it. And now I guess it's a little bit more, I leave it more open-ended. Joe definitely has, the weekly metrics of calls that he's trying to make, weekly metrics of visits that he's consistently trying to make, that, has worked for us and building the business. And to me now, it's kind of it's turned into, I should really go into that Taunton Area Chamber of Commerce, meeting. And it's it's rolling the dice, but it's maybe I can meet somebody, maybe somebody's looking for, new stuff and I can just grow it. And, I'll give you the perfect example. A couple months ago that happened, and I was going to this, Chamber of Commerce event at a coffee shop. It's really down and out. It was a Tuesday. I was I really don't feel like going. I really don't feel like doing this. And I went and ended up meeting, the CEO of the Taunton Federal Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, I mean the Taunton Federal Credit Union. Sorry, TFCU. And Nelson talked to me and curious about the business. Asking, and it was curious about my business. What? And they had a need. They were disgruntled over who they were working with over custom merch and apparel. It wasn't really that kind of great relationship that they, love. And they're a great customer now, and we're talking almost every day. And it's little things like that now, Alex, that I'm starting to see. And it's no, it wasn't the $1,000 to go and hit, 800 direct mailings or whatever. But it was one time for me to say, suck it up for 30 minutes, do something you don't want to do. Let's go to this Chamber of Commerce meeting. And now hopefully they're a lifelong customer, They
definitely are.
I love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. A little hey, I don't want to fucking do this. And then, it actually comes out to become one of the best things that you've done.
Dude, yeah, wild,
So much
man.
of life is that, right?
It is, yeah, and it's, sometimes my mom says I like to be a masochist to myself sometimes because I'm one of those cold shower dudes. I love a cold shower. I love, cold plunges, that sort of thing. And it's I just love. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm looking at Alex in 10 years. No. Because everything you speak and I'm everything.
I'm only 32, man. 10 years.
You're what, 30?
31.
Yeah, I'm literally just looking at Alex right now. This is Alex in a different form.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. It's sorry, bring me back. Where were we going with that?
Masochism.
Thank you. If you're willing to put yourself in those situations, and you might get embarrassed and you might say something that it's fuck, why did I say that? And don't get me wrong, a lot of those events that I sucked it up to and, went up to Boston, went up and did it, there was nothing, got nothing. And that's where it's for me socially, it's really hard sometimes because I'm introvert, believe it or not. I'm not extrovert whatsoever.
No way.
I am. My wife talks more than me. She is so bubbly, man.
You have such a radio voice. You know what I mean, guy? You have.
That. Yeah.
You feel like you have that energy. Wow.
I can pretend. It's strange, man. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad thing.
No, but it's
not a bad thing.
No, and it's I prefer listening, which is kind of funny. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
So I'm gonna shut up now.
No, never that. It's okay to be introvert because I think I don't even know what I am. Am I an extrovert?
You're definitely extrovert.
I feel on camera I'm extrovert, but behind the scenes I'm
Extrovert.
yeah, definitely am. I mean, with a name like mine, Tiago, it's Yeah, I don't think you can get more Portuguese like that. So you're Portuguese, right?
Oh hell yeah,
100%?
Oh, I wish like 50ish, high 40s.
Are you mainland or island?
Azores, baby?
What part?
Oh, I need to ask my little sister. She does.
Oh, okay. Because I'm Nordash, and I think what are you?
San Miguel, right? You're from San Miguel.
I'm in San Miguel, but the town I'm from, I'm not. I wasn't born there, but my parents were.
Sure.
But I'll just say like I am from there.
Hey,
my parents are from Nordash, so and obviously that's in the San Miguel Island, so that's the main island. So Alex is also from San Miguel.
Punta Garza.
Yeah, so
Hell yeah.
bunch of Portuguese in a fucking room.
I love it. I love it. So cool. Yeah, we've been talking about trying to get over there, man. Reconnect with some,
I'm actually going there next year.
That's awesome.
I'm going there next year.
That's awesome.
So
Well,
I'm gonna bring my dad. It would be his first time in like 30 years. Wow. I hope he doesn't watch this episode. It's gonna be a complete surprise for him. So
That's awesome.
nobody tell dad anything.
Don't
right?
tell Dad. Shit. Well, I'm
man.
taking your itinerary for sure.
Hey, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, hey, come out. Saw some merch over there. Who knows? Some
Hell
Benfica
yeah.
jerseys, you know.
Oh, hell yeah.
Off-topic question, because I know Alex is like super like intellectual. I'm not.
God.
You gotta stop putting yourself down.
I'm really not. Like I love it. Like I love the intellectual stuff, but like I just ask some dumbass questions sometimes.
Oh, stop.
Like, hey, what's like on our last podcast? Like we talked about like our favorite food and shit. What's your favorite food? Like Portuguese food?
Portuguese food?
Yeah.
Specifically?
It could be like anything. Like his was like what malasadas all day.
Okay.
Mine was like a juicy Portuguese steak with farm potatoes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I might have to. Yeah, that's where my brain first went to, with like a nice egg on top.
Yeah. With the
like,
peppers.
Yeah, like that's a.
The reason why I'm saying this is 'cause I'm fucking
Now my
hungry.
mouth's watering. Yeah, no, you can't go wrong with that. Overall, I'm definitely a big seafood guy in general. Love lobster. Yeah, always love lobster, clam chowder. Yeah. Typical.
I'm not a big seafood guy.
No kidding.
Nah, I only like salmon though.
Okay.
I only fuck with salmon.
Yeah.
I can't eat clams.
Okay.
I'm not allergic to them or anything. I just refuse to eat them.
Yeah.
So
I totally get it.
my wife thinks I'm like crazy. But then when we have clam boils, I'm like I'm not eating like any of the clams.
Yeah.
She's like, why aren't you eating any of the clams? I'm like, because I don't want them. She was like, good, more for me. I'm like, so why are you complaining about it?
Oh man. Love a good raw bar. Love all that. Yeah, I embarrass myself at a raw bar.
Are you like that type of guy that gets like 18 of like each different oyster?
No. Hell no. I've just been at some weddings and luckily they've had a raw bar and like I'm sitting there freaking embarrassing myself. Like,
You're just standing in front of the
scoffing.
person shucking the oysters and you're just like, next.
Literally. And it's like a lot of people aren't like huge fans of oysters, right? And it's like, shit, I'm sitting there freaking
Just
slapping
knocking
them
them back, dude. Oh man, this is back. Like I'm really liking this episode because you're really different.
Appreciate you.
Like in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way, not in a bad way. Never in a bad way.
I didn't
But
take
you're
it that
different
way.
because a lot of our guests have been like sole like tradesmen.
Yeah.
Or like Mark Mason, for example. He's the owner of a trades company. You're an owner of an apparel, like pretty much like a branding company.
Sure.
That helps construction and obviously other businesses too. So it's really like good to like expand like our horizon and like interview different people.
Yeah.
So this was very informational for me. Listening to you guys like talk, I'm like,
Hell yeah.
I'm in a different world right now, man.
It's fun, man.
It's good. It's good to hear like when you guys like talk like the way you do. Like it's really nice to like hear those stories
Yeah.
because it motivates me to become like like a better person than myself. I want to reach that next step.
Yeah.
And listening to your story and being here with you in your warehouse, looking at all this merch, it's like, wow, like I could do it. I gotta do it. I gotta put the work in, but I know I could do it, and I know it's gonna become successful.
And
so
Tiago, I it's something that it's like, it's so cliche and like, there's so many of those like cliche business lines, right? That everybody says like anybody could do it, anybody, but it's so true, man. It's so true. Like they're all like, you can do anything you set your mind to, right? Like that's the number one that was always like, yeah, whatever. But it's True, but you know, you got to be willing. Like I was saying earlier, you got to be willing for it. It's not going to happen overnight. It's gonna be. It takes years. That's what it takes years.
And for people to think like it just happens overnight, it's kind of like a fever dream at that point.
Yeah.
So put in the work always. Hey, I'm just gonna drop the line right now. CB Disco and Too Legit making a collab.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've been looking for apparel too, so
yeah,
we'll talk about that behind the scenes. I know Alex wanted to.
We'll do something fun for sure.
Any last comments you want to say?
I mean, I could talk to this guy forever. So
If you have one more-
Appreciate
you
you.
don't want last comments from me.
You know, sorry I go off a little bit on business and all this stuff, but it's just like, I truly, you know, you guys are spot on as far as, you know, wearing my heart on my sleeve and all that, and, you know, being a little bit sensitive, but I truly, you know, I want everyone to thrive. I want everybody to start their own business. I want everybody to be an entrepreneur because I know they can. And like, you know, it's all about just like we were talking, building that community, building those relationships, really honing in on like what you're good at, and just taking those baby steps, taking those little steps and saying, yeah, let's do this.
Man, I love that. Hey, also, what's been I'm actually really curious right now. What's been the craziest like creation that you've made? Like the one that you like really enjoyed a lot. Like if you can get like down to like specifics if you can.
Sure.
Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm really loving this JBL speaker.
That, you know, that was really cool. Yeah, it's a new JBL 6 waterproof. You know, it just came out, and I was like, wait, I can really print this, you know, full color on that. So
Can I give you my JBL speaker? You could do something with it?
Oh, I wish. I can ask. We can always ask. Hey, the worst, what I like to say, the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
But as far as like specific items, man, you know, we did it's hard not to think about RCL right now. We did a
Hot. RCL's hot right now, man.
You know, we did a custom, our first one, custom like inflatable race arch, like for the start lines, the one that was at the cookout there.
Oh, that was you guys.
That was dope. That was pretty cool.
That was you?
Yeah.
Oh, no
yeah.
shit.
So that was a really cool idea. Antia, shout out Antia. You know, she's always pumping out fresh ideas.
Shout out to Antia.
Yeah.
She's the reason why. She's the reason why we actually linked up.
Salt of the earth.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. She's
One of the nicest people.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
Down to earth. Like
Yeah.
she's such a nice person, dude. I can't wait. We have a podcast episode with her.
Fantastic.
So that should be fun. But I'm really glad she actually introduced us because it just opened a big door for us. You know?
Hell yeah, man. So, we'll get you some cannabis businesses. We'll get you some stuff here.
I'm loving it, dude.
Yeah.
Let me ask sort of one as we go towards the end. Is there anything you're kind of looking forward to, like whether that's in the business, like your business future or otherwise? Like,
Sure.
Down the line a little bit.
Yeah. You know, I'm really looking forward to, you know, kind of seeing what the rest of this year holds for us, because it's, you know, like I was saying, you know, only my second year full time now. So being able to have like 2 concrete years full of data, you know, sales months, and really kind of leaning into where our weaker quarters are going to be, where you know our strong quarters are, and kind of developing a game plan, you know, during those time frames of like, you know, it's July, it's our slowest month of the year. We need to be out hitting the streets, cold calling, you know, doing events, doing different stuff, and kind of driving new traffic while, you know, all of our current clients are a little bit quieter. And also, you know, I'm really excited about kind of, you know, this cannabis industry. Cannabis just got, you know, reclassified down to, you know, class 3. So all on the DEA side of things. So, you know, all these cannabis businesses, you know, we can go down this whole road, but, you know, now all these cannabis businesses, they aren't really allowed to write off normal business expenses. Okay. So it makes them very hard to be profitable at the end of the year, because they owe so much to the, you know, the federal government, taxes, you know, they're paying their town, you know, municipalities, you know, quarterly, you know, stipends for sales and stuff like that. That now it's been, you know, reclassified to class 3. So now they're going to be able to start writing off normal business expenses. And I think it's going to allow them to invest more in custom branding, in merchandise, apparel, that sort of thing, and kind of being willing to invest a little bit more on that side of the business. So I'm really excited about that for sure.
What's up? I wonder what our goal is. Well, we talked about it. Our goal is to have I think our follow account to be raised up. I think what we say. I think my goal was like 10,000 or 1,000 or something like that. And I think that's a good goal for us. It's kind of like different when you have a branding like apparel and like a podcast. We're still selling like our stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's different roads, but it all leads to the same one where we just want to be like successful brands and businesses. So
Hell yeah, man. Episodes, content. Don't stop, boys.
That's it.
Keep going.
thank you. Any more advice? Like, what's the one piece of advice that you can give us moving forward?
For me, man, I think you're onto something here with the small businesses, small business owners, the people that maybe don't have tens of thousands of followers, and having those conversations, because I think you're gonna find that there's some different pearls of advice that maybe aren't so mainstream, and it's gonna hit home for maybe that common person that isn't really ready for that rah that they're seeing. This guy's telling me that he's crying every Monday and he's got a business. Yeah, like that's who people need to be seeing, I think.
Amen to that, brother.
Amen.
Andrew, we want to thank you so much for taking
you.
time out of your busy schedule to come onto our podcast.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, if you guys need, let me take a deep breath, because if you guys need any custom branding, apparel, accessories, these are really nice pins, by the way.
Thanks,
Just saying.
brother. Yeah, those are pretty cool.
I like these. Can we get pins?
100%.
Accessories, pens, mugs.
Swag.
Any swag. You come to Easton, you see this guy right here. Tell
Hell
him Too Legit sent you. And we're gonna collab pretty soon.
Awesome.
You can ask him. I've been itching for merch.
Let's do it.
Up the ass, man. I've been itching for this merch. Everybody on my job site's been asking.
Hell
so
yeah.
I'm like, let's just make something happen.
Let's do it.
Andrew,
Hey, thanks so much for having me, boys. I appreciate you. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. I'm Tiago. That's Alex. This has been Andrew Nunes of CB Disco signing off. Good night.